GBR trying to hold $9 still. So, I mean, this stock is still trying to hold $9. And I'll be honest, I am thinking about a possible entry if it can hold this $9. So I know what, a third touch would be coming on up. And we would have, you know, basically like our higher low patterns. It's just if it cracks $9 and starts, you know, fading off, it's definitely going to be cracking. It's definitely going to be hitting lows, you know, back down near like 850. So right now I'm in a little bit of predicament because, you know, right now it's consolidating. Right now it's able to hold its gains right now, and right now it's showing that, hey, you know what? We are moving sideways right now. Now, with that being said, we know within like the next 30 minutes we could slowly be building some higher lows back on up and possibly get a breakout back up towards around $10. That could easily happen. And if that does happen, I think that's where we could get our breakout, our third touch for that possible next leg on up. Because it is consolidating right here. But if it does crack this like $9 mark and we start seeing some selling, I do think it's going to be going back down towards around this like 840 or 850 mark. Yeah, I mean, still trying to hold up $9. And I'm just, again, watching, because this is what usually happens on stocks before they kind of go crazy sometimes, is they just move sideways. And that's why I'm really watching it, because I've seen stocks like this before. Again, just move sideways, slowly trying to bring in some attention, and all of a sudden out of nowhere they just explode. And you know, where do they explode? Probably when it, you know, gets above like 950, like it would just explode. So that's why, you know, I just want to be ready for it in case this thing ever did explode. Just be ready, because sometimes we see a, you know, a nice rip up, one touch, came back on down, you know, it got all the way up, two touch, and now again we're basically just moving sideways, and then out of nowhere this thing in the next, you know, few moments could just explode on up. I've seen it happen before. So waiting, being patient, be a stock sniper. Stock sniper, guys. Put yourself in that situation right now. Right now we're just laying in the tall grass, top of a big mountain, wind blowing, guy sitting next to you, 300-yard shot, earth rotation taken into effect, 2-mile-per-hour wind coming from the southeast, target acquired. And I'm just watching. I know you guys are as well. I don't really want to bring up any sort of pictures right now because I don't want to miss out in case it does start getting some sort of activity. But, you know, make sure you guys are having a game plan. Make sure you guys are being smart. Make sure you guys aren't forcing anything. You can always pick up, like if you wanted to, like maybe 500 shares or something at like 910 or something like that, just in case it does start ripping and running. You have a little bit of something, right? That's not always a you know, a bad idea. So, you know, maybe look something up, or, you know, maybe take a little bit, maybe like 500 or 1,000 shares at a low area, just in case that if ever did start ripping and running, you know, you would have something. But, you know, again, right now it is just, you know, staying smart. I know it's a little bit quiet. Just, you know, probably the next, I would say the next 15 minutes, you're going to either see this thing dump on down or spike on up, and probably like the next 15 minutes or so. Starting to pick up a little bit again. Starting to pick up just a little bit at this time. And if this thing breaks 950, that's when we're going to start going. And look at, here goes GBR starting to move a little bit right here. And if this thing starts going, this is what I'm talking about, starting to, the entries. So we do have GBR right now starting to get a little bit of a pop. So I just, again, be on high alert on this play. If this thing starts, you know, ripping on up and this thing does start moving. I did just enter this play. I did just hop in on this play over on GBR because I want to see if this is going to run up towards around $10 right now. But told you guys within the next 15 minutes, we're going to start seeing some activity. And here comes GBR starting to move on up. Watch for the third touch coming on up for $10. Third touch coming up for $10. Break at $10. I do think we could possibly get halted in the next few moments. I do have 3,000 shares right here. 3,000 shares got filled at 940. Got filled at 940, 3,000 shares. I'm going to be smart and lock in probably about 1,500 at this time and let the other last about 1,200 go out because I want to lock in profit. But I told you guys, again, we are going to see activity within the next 15 minutes. I'm going to, right now, I'm going to let this last 1,200 shares run. I'm letting this last 1,200 shares go snakeskin Randy style right here. Told you guys this happens. Told you guys this happens. Let's get that $10 break, GBR. So I want to see this thing go, of course, but I am, as you guys know, I scale out on my trades. I always like to scale out of my trades just so no matter what, I'm leaving profitable. This is my first trade of the day, as you guys know. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for the most predictable area. And what was the predictable area that I saw? What was the predictable area that I like? It's the area of me saying what? Hey, I know that after 30 minutes of nothing, we usually see something. Let's get a nice pop. Kick us off good on July right here, GBR. I love you. You're a great guy, great family. You know, you have a great chart pattern. We've been boys before. Me and you, we have ran before. We have ripped before. We have danced before. We are killing it before. Pop, pop, pop. Let's get this money. Let's get it, GBR. Let's get it. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm seeing. Come on. God, I'm taking off my headphone. It's too predictable. It's too damn predictable. Is it just, it's too easy. Okay, so right now, you can see this play all the way up to, again, that 1050 mark. If it goes below 1025, I'm going to lock in the rest of mine. But right now, awesome work so far. So I'm still letting, again, my last 1,000 be able to run on out right here. And let's see what we have right here. 1030, 1020, still holding, 1025. And I want to hold this last 1,000. I definitely want to hold this last 1,000 because I know how much potential this has to go. And again, awesome job. Awesome job for everyone banking right now. You deserve it. You guys absolutely deserve it. I'm keep holding still right here. I have this last 1,000. I have 1,000 left, as you guys know. As I've been saying, I'll show you guys right here. So again, I went in 3,000 shares. I'm up $1,300 right now. I'm up $1,300 on the day. And I want to hold this last 1,000 out. I want it to get back above 250 to get that run to $11 though. Because I don't want to sell this last 1,000. Because if I sell this last 1,000, actually I can even add if I wanted to. Actually, I could sell this last 1,000, but I don't want it just yet because I actually have more buying power left. But I want to give this a little bit of a chance to get back above 1050 and run up to $11. As I said, I want to go a little snakeskin Randy on this one. I already made a good amount of money. If this thing runs up to $12 and I'm not in, I'll be kicking myself a little bit. So let's see if it's going to be able to break 1050 right here and start ripping. And you guys know how it works for me. Usually I sell and this thing goes bananas. Right? How many times? It's killing me. It's so close. I'm so close to selling just because I want to make my money. But at the same time, I know this thing can break 1050. I know this thing can. It got up towards what, a high of 1070. Watching very closely. My fingers on the trigger in case I got to dump this last 1,000. But hey, it's right in the 1040 still. Watching the level 2. 1040's on the bid. That's what I like to see. 1035 on the bid. Let's see right here. Because I know it's just trying to consolidate. All right, I got it. I'm locked out. Locking out. $1,100 on the day. I'll take it. Your boy's out. Your boy is out right now. But $1,100 on the day, waiting for my play. Right here. 3,000 shares, $1,100 profit. Today is Monday, July 2nd. It is the first trading day of the month. And I am so happy, I am so excited, and so just fired up to be here with you guys. It has been an awesome morning so far, and we are seeing GBR on a massive rip, 142% gain. Now, this stock has been a stock that has been on our watch list for the past 3 days now. On Thursday, we had a very strong gap up to just dump. Then on Friday, this made a nice move. And today, as you can see, this thing is just absolutely killing it again. GBR has a lot of potential left towards it, but I want to go over why the stock is even moving in the first place. And on top of that, I want to be going over how I made $1,100 today. I made $1,136 on GBR. This is my trade today. So let's go back because we talked about this stock where? In our morning newsletter today. Chart setups, GBR on high alert today as this stock refuses to quit. On Thursday, we saw the stock have a gap up over 100% for no reason, which led to a crash. Then on Friday, we saw the stock spike up 145% on the day for no reason. And now in pre-market, we've seen that stock spike over $2 for no reason. As of now, this play is all momentum based. As long as traders keep buying and selling the stock, it will continue to move. And traders will keep playing it as it is profitable. At this rate, we could easily be seeing GBR upwards of $10 today. High alert. And that was straight out of our morning newsletter as we send to you guys every single day. And where we're seeing GBR hitting highs all the way up towards around like 980, which is absolutely beautiful and absolutely a gorgeous thing. So GBR, as you guys can tell, it has been a little tricky because what? GBR doesn't have any sort of news towards it. There's no sort of news towards it on why the stock's ripping. Last news that we have come out on this play was May 15th. Last week, we saw so many spikes. We saw so many rips. We've seen so many pops. And right now, conditions in the penny stock market are just absolutely hot, absolutely on fire, absolutely killing it. So GBR has been an absolute beast. Just because, one, why is the stock being a beast? Because it's an extremely low float. 2 million in float. We know what? The float is the shares offered to the public. The lower the float, the higher the demand, the bigger the rip. I always give that analogy, guys. Basically that low float causes chaos. When you have chaotic, movement, it's going to lead to a lot of profit. You could always say, what? A Black Friday. Let's say you're a parent, you have a child. He wants an Xbox more than anything in the world, but Best Buy only has 10 Xboxes left. And you know what? There's 200 parents out here all with all the same story. What do you think's going to happen? They're going to open up those doors, and it's going to be absolute madness. People are going to be beating each other up and going wild, saying, "I got to get this Xbox." But if there's a large float or a large supply of Xboxes, everyone's saying to themselves, "Hey, have a Merry Christmas." Yep, you pick up your Xbox, you cash out to the cashier, and it's very slow, very easy. But when there's a limited supply of something, that's going to go chaotic. And also limited supply and a high demand, the price rises. So GBR right here with a very low float, it allows the stock to get very chaotic, very crazy, it rips very hard, and it raises the price very fast. So with this play, this started moving on, again, on Friday, started moving on up. Now, the interesting thing is what? That this stock does not have any sort of news at it. So you say to yourself, Dek, is this one big pump? Is it one sort of like one big pump pattern right here? Is this, going to dump out of nowhere? Well, the thing that we have to understand is what? GBR did get this pop on up on Thursday, which what happened? It dumped right back on down. Then Friday wasn't really too active. So I believe traders just started trading the stock again just because why? Just because they're saying, hey, previous day top gainer, low float. We'll see if, any sort of activity comes into it. So probably some traders started playing this again and volume did come back into it. Because sometimes in the penny stock market, guess what? There is manipulation. Guess what? Sometimes stocks don't move for any sort of reason. And guess what? If a stock is moving and traders are trading it and making money, other people are going to buy it. So sometimes a stock may just be moving just because some traders are buying it. And then guess what happens? Maybe another person buys it. And guess what happens? Then 2 more people buy it. Then guess what happens? Then 10 more people buy it. And 100 people more buy it. Right? It just keeps on going. And that's, one of the crazy things about a penny stock market. Because that's not how it really works like with an Apple stock or like a Netflix stock. Sometimes we'll be watching the high of the day momentum scanner and we'll see a stock pop up. And just because since we saw it pop on up on the high of the day momentum scanner, obviously that means what? Someone bought it and it hit a new high of the day. And then guess what happens? How many people have high of the day momentum scanners or high of the day scanners? Probably thousands to millions. So you know what? Maybe someone out there says, oh, wow, this stock is going to break out. And then they buy it. Okay, now it's popped up a little higher on the high of the day momentum scanner. And then, now like 10 people are like, whoa, is this stock actually moving or what's going on? And maybe like 10 more people buy it. And then it starts moving up a little more. Then all of a sudden, hundreds to thousands of people start flooding into it. And now it does start moving just based out of all momentum. So right here, GBR, I believe, started probably ripping just out of pure momentum back on Friday. And this momentum has just yet to die. Because why? As penny stock traders, as day traders, as just investors in general, what's our purpose here? To make money, right? We're all here to make money. That's why we're here right now. So GBR right here, people are saying, I'm making money on this stock. People see that this stock is going from $2 to $10. And you know what? People don't want to miss out on this action. So even if it doesn't have any sort of news towards it, people are still buying in the stock. You know why? Because in their head, they're saying, wow, this thing is still moving on up. This thing went from $2 to $10. What's saying that this stock can't go from $10 to $15 now? So people just keep saying with that mindset, hey, this thing is making money. I want to purchase it. I want to buy it. I want to see it. And that's when the stock keeps climbing. That's when it just keeps on going up. I didn't play the stock at all on Friday. I didn't play the stock for the first, $2 rip. I was in late on this play, as you guys know. I'm a very conservative trader. I like to pinpoint my plays, and I like to get in where I know that we are going to start seeing a lot of hype, or we are going to start seeing some sort of buying volume, and that I'm going to be able to make some sort of profit on this play. And that's why statistically, I win 75% of the time. That's why statistically speaking, about 7 or 8 out of 10 of the trades I'm going to win at. So those 2 that I lose on, as long as I cut those losses quick, I'm going to be able to, continue to make money in the market. And that's how, because I'm studying these patterns. I'm studying these, opportunities in the market. I always tell you guys, as a day trader, all we need is one moment, one area where we can see predictability, where we know that buying volume is going to be coming in, where we can look for a nice, entry for this thing to spike on up. What was GBR? The different predictability areas. Number one predictability area is just right at the bell. You could say to yourself, I'm going to buy the stock right at the start of the day. The stock, has a massive gap up. The stock is moving on up very nicely right here in pre-market. I believe volume could just, rip this thing right at the start of the day. What did it do? It did absolutely that. It broke through $7. It broke through $8. It ran all the way up to $8.75. And we know $8.75 is a very strong resistance line. We have actually a play for that called the $8.75 rule, which means when you do break through $8.75, you 9 out of 10 times automatically get a run up towards around $9.25 to $9.50 to $10. It happens 9 out of 10 times. But that's not what? That's not all in straight up. If you go from $6 to $8.75, 9 out of 10 times you're going to get rejected. It's after it consolidates, forms a U-shaped pattern or some sort of pattern. When you break 875, about 15 to 20 minutes later, then you get that big time run on up. So what pattern is this right here on GVR? This is a pattern that all you guys are shouting out in chat, and it was absolutely awesome to see, is we have a nice little triangle being formed. So we have this triangle being formed with a nice spike before that. Elementary school, baby. This is all what? This is a bull flag pattern. So we have a nice bull flag pattern. We have the nice pull right here setting itself up on a very nice rip, to come up in the near future. And we could see nice spike, bull flag pattern, next leg on up, right? Nice spike, bull flag pattern, next leg on up. Nice spike, bull flag pattern, next leg on up. Nice spike, bull flag pattern, next leg on up. So a lot of you guys got in right here. And then this thing went on a bananas run. And it ripped all the way up to 1029. And you know what? I didn't pull the trigger. You know why? I didn't pull the trigger to start with just because I was a little iffy, if it was going to spike at the bell. I didn't pull the trigger at the bull flag because now it's up, nearly 100%. And I was getting a little nervous. You know what? Am I chasing at this point? And then it spiked all the way on up, and that's when it started falling back on down. So what started happening? Right now we get to like this point now where there is opportunities to make some good money. And where's your opportunities to make some good money right here now? Bounce plays. Notice we have some consolidation right around where? 875. We already said 875 was strong resistance. Flip that around. Now that we're above it, 875 holds up a strong support. So we have a bounce play at 875 strong support. It gets a nice move on up. Guess what happens? It comes back down, and we get a bounce play at 875 strong support. And then guess what happens, guys? We have our first run up. We come back down. We have our second run up. We come back on down. Now what do we throw this bad boy in? We throw this bad boy in a channel right here. I'm going to say $10 resistance. Right around that $10 resistance area. First touch, second touch, nothing phase, third touch. Now I kind of just started talking about, I just basically just called it today, the nothing phase. Now, this is something that a lot of experienced traders will tell you. When you see a stock, and a very hot stock, basically go from crazy ripping to crazy dumping to just go to nothing, you're probably going to be seeing a very big spike or a very big drop within the next, 15 to 20 minutes. It's not something that, beginners usually see. It's just something, the more you see this happen of, it's more of something you just kind of plant in your head, where you say, hey, usually when you see a lot of just nothing out of a lot of chaoticness, is basically something big is probably coming up right around the corner. It'd be, an easy example of this, I don't know, this is just what I'm popping in my head right now. Shark Week, okay? Discovery Channel. What's one of the things they say? Usually when you have a lot of sharks swimming around, you have a lot of little sharks swimming around. And if you're swimming with these sharks swimming around and all of a sudden they all disappear out of nowhere, what's probably happening? There's probably a huge shark about to come into the way because they don't want to get eaten. It was the same thing. I was just out over in Hawaii, and I was actually, again, doing some fun stuff, swimming with sharks. I don't know why I was doing this. I was just having some fun, okay? So they took me out on a boat, and we jumped in with these sharks. And there was a lot of, good-sized sharks, probably like 8 to 12 feet, good-sized sharks. But if they said out of nowhere, if all of them just run and all of them just disappear, there's probably going to be like a 15-foot to 20-foot tiger shark approaching. So just be ready for it. And that's kind of something that, I relate to my stock trading, where I'm saying, hey, you know what? Right now we have a bunch of good rips. We have, there's sharks in the water right now. There's good spikes, there's good pops. But all of a sudden, if everything disappears, what's going to happen? Probably going to start seeing something pretty big start coming up in the near future. Okay? So GBR, what's the best pattern as well? I can relate to this. What's the best pattern I can relate to just this move, as you already know, is that channel pattern. And the perfect example, again, patterns repeat themselves, right? Third touch. When we talk about channel patterns, guys, we look for the third touch, and you buy on the third touch. So what we have our first touch right here. We have our first touch right here. We have our U-shaped pattern. We have our U-shaped pattern, which is our second touch right here. Our second touch right here. Comes back on down, nothing phase. Comes back on down, nothing phase. Small sharks get out of the way. Big shark moves in, right? That's what usually happens. Now, in this case, again, we have our nothing phase or nothing phase. This is where I entered, right on this big green candle. Right when I saw this momentum move on in, that's where I said to myself, I want to get in on this play. So that's where I hopped in this play, and guess what happened? Big shark moved on in, stayed above 10 bucks, and now it's still, ripping on up to new highs over on GBR. So GBR is ripping up on new highs right here, and it's all again from what? This pattern right here. This is where I saw my predictability. Was there a bull flag pattern? Yes. Was there bounce play opportunities? Yes. But today, I saw my predictability going for a third touch channel breakout. That's what I was looking for. So we have our one touch, our two touch, our two touch. We have our nothing phase, and then we get our breakout. So right when I saw this big candle came in at 920, 925, 950, and ran all the way up to 980. As you guys saw right here, I got in at a pretty solid area. I market ordered in at 935. So this thing started ripping when? This thing started ripping at 920, right? 920, break of 925, it started ripping. I got in at a 935, 950. So again, I was in all the way at 950. I was a little bit late, as you know. So now as the stock started climbing on up, what started happening? Stock started climbing on up. I actually got out on my first 1,000 shares at a really bad area. Only what, 965? Not very good at all. And then what started happening? I started scaling out a little bit more, and then I got all the way out at 1021 as well. I made $1,300. I made $1,300 on this play, which is absolutely awesome. But if I kept holding, we're all the way up towards 1130 right here, and it's just going off this channel pattern, this channel breakout right here. So GBR, if you study your patterns, if that's a bull flag pattern, if that's a channel pattern, if that's a support and resistance, or just seeing that, hey, this stock has a lot of potential, saying, hey, you know what, you go through the nothing phase, you probably have a big shark around the corner coming in. What's happening right here? You have to be ready for these plays, and it's all about studying. The toughest thing to do is, of course, be ready to rock and roll. Something else, a little side note that I did state on Friday that I want you guys to be aware of is we do have, I would say, a chart set up as well on GBR. Because I was saying before, hey, you know what? There's no reason behind this. Like I was saying, no news. But hey, I would say there is a one chart setup that we would have right here. And what chart setup would that be, guys? I would say we would have a bullish engulfing candle. And a bullish engulfing candle right here does lead to climbs. And I actually almost called this out for a swing trade on Friday. You guys were here on Friday. Remember, I said, hey, GBR definitely has a lot of potential for a swing trade. And why is that? Because it has a bullish engulfing candle. And a bullish engulfing candle is basically just when a green candle engulfs the red day before it. It means it's above it on, above the highs, and it's, below the lows. So it basically just engulfs it, the whole entire thing. And if you want to look some examples at this, you can go over to Google, of course, and just something like bullish engulfing candle. So we have our small, red candle, and the engulfing candle first, takes over that whole red candle. And what that does, it lets the, nice rips on up. Now, usually these are at the bottom, the bottom of charts that lead to trend reversals, but they could also lead to very nice gap ups. Gap ups are very nice right here. You can see like right here, you can see closes, and you have a nice gap up the next day and a nice spike. So if you look at right here, over on this play, gap up the next day and a nice spike. So if you look at right here, over on this play, you can see we do have this red candle, and we kind of have this big green candle engulfing it, which is leading to this nice spike and this nice rip right here. So GBR, if you break it down, you can see credibility behind it. If that's just from looking on Friday for a swing trade on the bullish engulfing candle, if that is looking over on this gap up and saying that this stock is going to be able to get a nice rip and be able to get a nice pop and climb just because of the gap up in the morning hype towards it. That could be saying that, hey, you know what? We have this bull flag pattern, and we have this nice rip and this nice run. And we have, again, the channel patterns. We have support. We have break of resistance, this nice big, rip and run. So, it's absolutely great. And what I've been saying, guys, what makes me, extremely happy, extremely pumped up, is what? Not me making, you know, $1,100, but you guys making $1,100. And I always love to show you guys off right here over in Profits Chat. Sniper trade, $431. B Walker, $708. Paper trade, but second trade ever. You know, that's awesome. We have 270, 438, 250, 350, 750, 121, $900, 61, 531, 150, 487, 2,000, 406, 350, 325, $800, $1,500. What do we have right here? 65, 1,100, 380, 645. I'm running out of breath. 1,200, 80, 13. Woo! It just keeps on going, baby. You know, $1,100 right here. Like, it just keeps on going, and you guys are just absolutely on fire. So, you know, I could not be more happy for you guys. I could not be more excited for you guys. Stock trading is beyond predictable if you guys are willing to learn, break down these patterns, and being able to understand the psychological aspects behind other traders. Stocks move up because people buy them. Stocks move down because people sell them. If you understand the majority of traders and what they are doing, you are going to be able to understand the market, and you will be able to understand which way these stocks are going to be moving up next. So awesome job today. Very excited for everyone who banked today. You guys absolutely deserve it.